So today's Messy May post is a little different because I was sent some goodies from BLEDS, which does scrapbooking items. I actually got these off Amazon, and they sent me this goodie box, which I was very excited to test out for you all to see, and I will use them today. Actually, I really like the box. And so let's see what's in the box. Scrapbooking goodies and junk journal goodies. Little pieces of paper to go in the collection. These were sent to me or gifted to me, and I wanted to share with you what they look like. I'm actually really excited. There's so many in here. I had no idea. I will share a link as to where these come. It even comes with a glue tape. How perfect. Now, I use a lot of items that I collect. That's how I do most of my junk journaling, is from scraps that I find or are given to me that would otherwise be recycled. But every so often, it's really nice to have little extra moments that you can include. And so these are little kind of paper pieces that you can add on to a piece or a page. So I am doing a spread today that I will utilize some of these. I'm going to have a little look through and see what they look like. This is for an honest review, so I'm not going to say yes or no right now if I like them. So far, the only negative I've seen is this one looks a little bit grainy. But again, when you're doing journaling or junk journaling in specifically, you cover most of it up. I do really like these guys. Oh, they're fabulous. These little... Oh, these are wonderful. I like these little images. Very sweet. I'm going to speed this up just slightly to go through kind of what you get in this particular set. It was $13.99 on Amazon, and I do have Amazon Prime, so it's free shipping. Really reasonable. I wasn't expecting this many pages, to be honest. Now, it's a very thin paper, kind of like copy paper, but each little pack has a different kind of theme to it. This one looks kind of like crumpled papers. Again, they're thin papers, but they work really well, definitely for junk journaling. You get a lot of bang for your buck in this set. There's some plain papers. These almost look like handmade papers with little bits of flowers and threads in them. But just to let you know, they are like photocopies or scans of that paper. They are not actual handmade papers. So that is important that you know. These ones were really fun. I like that some of them are pre-cut into perfect little squares, and you know, the pattern options are quite unique. I love this set because I'm probably going to use those for very like English vibes. English, I don't know. It's giving England to me. Now, some of the papers have lines on them. They look like old kind of journals, and there's old receipts in there, grocers, vintage type style papers, but not actually vintage. So you can put them in a piece and not feel bad about ripping it up because they're copies of. These ones are quite interesting. They have like a tear look to them. There's really quite a lot of options in this particular set. So far I am pretty happy with the selection, and the price is very reasonable. Now I'll go through all of these and put them into my own system of organization, usually by color. I really like some of the sets that have moments in it that have dates on them, and I know how I'll use them in my journals that have dates on them. I know exactly how I'll work these. Now I am pulling out some pages that I want to use in my spread today, so as I go through them, I am thinking about what I'm going to be doing with my Messy May spread. That's why you see me taking out a couple here. But there are so many cute prints, some with florals on it, some with patterns, and then they also throw in some clear, I thought they were stickers, but they're actually just printed onto clear plastic that you can glue in or use the glue tape that they send you. I think actually it's a very reasonable set. There's a lot to work with, and so that's what we're going to use today. So today's word for Get Messy May was metamorphosis. I had a little bit of mess on the page, so I wanted to make it a fresh page and painted it white, actually more of an off-white colour. Then I started laying down some items I got in my new set of goodies, as well as a photocopy of the dictionary definition of metamorphosis, which came with a fabulous little picture as well in it with a butterfly on it, and I really liked that overall look. One thing about the set that I was gifted, I actually really like the glue tape. I've actually never used glue tape, but it does make for an easier moving of the items that I moved to stick down. I often change my mind as to locations with junk journaling or scrapbooking, and so I actually am pleasantly surprised that the glue tape seems to give it an ability to lift it off without it being like super stuck to the page. So that's a great little item that's included. They also sent me these little clear moments, these flowers, and I really wanted to include that in some way on the page. I like keeping the word butterfly and metamorphosis. I do have this, and the only reason I grabbed it is because I like it's in a similar color palette to the page. It really doesn't make sense in terms of like the theme per se, but I'm also not against it, and I really like that lacy aspect, so I'm trying not to cover everything. Like I said, using the glue stick that came with it is quite good because I can move things up and down without damaging the page. I'm trying to keep it sort of moving across nicely. Actually, that doesn't look so bad over the top. Okay, I'm thinking this stamp does work there. I don't want to cover too much of it. And then I just found this old sticker that used to have a picture in the middle. I'm wondering if I could use this in some capacity. Trying not to cover up too much of the writing. Almost highlights it, which is quite interesting. Maybe we won't use this. Oh, we will, I'm not sure yet. So in true Sarah fashion, I did change and edit this many times. I ripped up some of the sheets and moved their positioning about, still keeping them, but I actually really liked the tear aspect. And there was that beautiful little bee included, so I wanted that on the final piece. Metamorphosis is got a lot to do with change, so I felt like that worked quite well with the theme, just changing the moments on the page, but I still kept majority of the integrity of the pieces that I had. And actually one of the things I wanted to mention about these new little goodies that I had and have been using today is that the paper is fairly thin. It's like copy paper in thinness, so it's not cardstock, but that actually makes for really nice tears. It sounds strange, but I really like when it has a very distinct tear line of white. That's something I actually quite like, so this paper does do very well with that. Okay, I'm tempted to put a little yellow on these wings just to correspond with some of the yellow down here. Might not work, but we can always try. See if it ties in a little better. Let's put in some more yellow over here. Now it's going to look different in different areas, of course. I really want to try and tie in as much as possible with the flower in the bottom right corner, just so it feels a little cohesive. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I think that it will help the overall look of the piece if it's, you know, kind of mirrored slightly. So you've got the yellow up here, and then maybe I could do like a brown central body part. Do the yellow for the wings again. And I don't mind it being scratchy in the style. It doesn't need to be super neat. We'll do a brown body. Let's go with this one. This is the mild liner in brown. I'm not going over the gold because I just want to keep that central part brown, so it sort of ties in there. So here's the end result. Very different than my usual stuff. It has the Metamorphosis from the dictionary on there, a little bit of metallics included, but it's a very simple design, unlike pretty much all my other versions, which are very hodgepodgey full, and this one is more subtle and minimalist, I guess, which is a change, a metamorphosis of the usual plan. And it does say what metamorphosis means. Metamorphosis is a transformation, as if by magic or sorcery, a marked change in appearance. So this is a marked change in appearance to my usual spreads this month. It's a new day and I have started placing this. I haven't glued anything down yet, but I really like this new strategy I'm going with of planning out the day, or planning out to an extent what I'm going to put down. It doesn't always stick with it, but what's so fun about this glue like roller tape, honestly, is that I can really continue moving things around, which I do really like, because I often change my mind, and for some reason the glue tape seems to be working better than a glue stick in terms of placing things down. Now, I might have just forgotten what I was doing there and put them in the wrong place, but these are all papers that I got recently gifted to me, and I'm really liking so many of them. I'm going to put him there because I don't remember where I had him. Maybe up here? There was a reason behind where I placed it. I'm going to put it there for now, because I have this that I brought up recently that I liked from a card from my mother, and I have a great quote I want to use for today's theme of dreamy. This is also giving a little bit of Alice in Wonderland vibes with that clock there, and I will continue to build here. I also have this one, which I quite liked. Maybe I want to make sure this whole area is filled with something. Very collage vibes. This is the paper that looks like torn, like rippled paper, which I quite liked. I'm going to use my finger as a guide as to where the ripping occurs. It's not an exact science, I must admit, but that's also kind of part of the joy of this kind of style. I like that kind of feeling like a cloud. And then if I move this down here to like there, perhaps. This is way too angular down here, so maybe we do have to cover the full page. And I have a lot of these papers at similar style and colour palettes, so I will keep adding these because there's so many in these packs. So many. And I am enjoying finding things. Now, this one was used on the opposite page, so I don't want to use him again if I can help it. But there are several in a similar colour palette, so maybe I'll do something like this. I do not want to cover up that heart because it's fabulous. But maybe we could include some moments by... Maybe I do this. Maybe I'm going to put him in position. I do want to keep that clock there. And I love some of the moments on this paper. So I'm going to rip it so that we can keep some of these elements on show. Perhaps here could be one. Some of this. Maybe we have to do something similar up here with the rip marks. Maybe this is where the rip marks go. So this day's page is dreamy, and I kind of like the idea of sort of fragmented markings, like fragmented dreams. And so the idea of ripping the pages and sort of making a collage of papers on the page, sharing the rip marks, having them kind of showcased on the page sounded like a good idea to me. So I basically went to town, ripping up a bunch of the new papers that I got, figuring out the placement, and I actually kind of loved this whole process. I don't normally tear down papers quite as much as I did on this time, but there's so many papers to choose from that it felt like really good finding elements that worked well together. The color palettes are all very neutral from the sets that I picked. I tried to keep it a little bit more cohesive, and I did turn the little card piece that I had around this time because I felt like it worked better without the colourful butterflies and the blue border. And then to just really tie the two pages together, I ended up painting it with the same colour I did the background on the opposite page. Alright, now we're going to print on the cutest label maker ever. Okay, now I've got to figure out where it goes, either here or here. Let's think. Clear, let's see here. I wonder if it's light enough to read it. Or if it should go up in the lighter parts. Ugh. No, I feel like it needs to be up here. Let's see. Let's see the final moments. I think that works. And I went with the clear tape, so dreams are fragile, but within their broken pieces lie hidden treasures. Very nice. I like this spread. Double page spread. So we have Metamorphosis and Dreamy. Ta-da!